Hello, hello. We are here with the King of the North ProBots tournament. This, as far as I know, at least is the first StarCraft 2 AI tournament that we have run here for sure, but I think pretty much that has been run at all. I am Endersword, despite what the names say, and this over here is ESChamp. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, this should be pretty fun. So for those of you out there that don't know what we're up to or what we're doing today, these are SC2 bots programmed by members of the community. We are in the round of 8, basically the start of it. We had a little pre-qualifier and got it down to a bracket of 8. And we're going to be looking at the first 2 best of 3s today. And our first matchup coming up is going to be AviloBot against Micromachine. So these are basically machine learning and scripting bots that the community has made. So don't expect a GSL level of play or even a like mid-ladder player level of play, but they certainly do some interesting things, and they're doing it by learning the game as they go. So I think that's what makes it pretty interesting. Any thoughts at your ESChamp? I don't think you've seen any of these games yet at all.
Yeah. I'm actually really interested because, coming from a grandmaster point of view, I'm going to see a lot of like inefficient build orders and whatnot. So it's pretty much just having fun with it. I know behind the programming itself, it's a lot too much to where, I couldn't even really set up the stream kind of thing where these people are probably much more knowledgeable in that sense than I could ever be.
Yeah. Some of these do take, all of them I think have taken months and months to make. And a lot of them are using that, I forget what it's called, the PY StarCraft API thing that DeepMind has made. So it's using the same thing that Google is attempting to do and make one that will eventually beat a pro player, or at least attempt to. So it's based off that sort of thing. So it will be kind of neat to see what they come up with. So I think we have queued up, before we get into the games, interviews with the creators of these 2 bots. I think, the AviloBot is going to be our first one. So we're going to see an interview with his creator, which I believe is Nike X. No? Yeah. So, just see kind of what goes into the creation of these and maybe get a little bit of an intro to it before we hop into the game. And there is a lot of work behind these, so you're going to see something that in the games you may even be thinking like, okay, a bronze player could do this, but regardless. Ready? And okay. All right then. So just having a little bit of a tech issue in getting the interview up and running, but shortly. So the creator of the other bot that we're going to see first is, I believe, Blind Midget. And so a lot, again, does go into this, but you're going to see some really interesting behavior from the bot. The overall play, the build orders, what they're doing is not going to make a lot of sense, but it's really interesting to see how some of it actually moves around, how the micro actually works, how it's making decisions, and try and put yourself in the shoes of the bot. Here's one of the creators now, I believe. Okay, we're still having tech issues with that. Do you want to hop into either a game, or do you want to try this again? Just speaking to our production. All right, we're going to attempt to keep this up. So ESChamp, have you seen any of the short videos of what Google and their DeepMind has done with?
I have not.
None of that at all.
Honestly, and it's kind of like, I guess it's a little bit more honorable. I really don't go into like the lore and whatnot of StarCraft 2. I just like the whole WCS competitive scene and what goes in that. So it's going to be really interesting to watch all these games and like how stuff progresses versus like, you know, I don't want to say like it's going to be like bronze level or something like that, but I feel like it's going to be within the area of that where, and, you know, maybe a bronze player could actually lose to the spot or something like that, which will be interesting. I'm just really intrigued about the names that these people are named, such as AviloBot.
Yes.
I'm sure that if you kind of look from the standpoint of Avilo's gameplay versus AviloBot's gameplay, I want to see how similar they are. Which,
primary strategy,
since he is from North America,
given that it's AviloBot, it would start to...
All right, I think we've got the interview now.
Tanks, would build a lot of Helions and Banshees and Vikings, and it typically tries to play a bit defensive. So it has at least one tank at every expansion. It has, 1 to 20 turrets at every expansion, and it goes from there. And the little twist is that before 7 minutes, it tries to come with double Banshee builds and tries to harass the opponent a little bit. My strength against Micromachine are that it macros, I guess. My bot, what does it have to watch out for? It just has to identify the cheese, at least against that opponent, because again, it's just a marine all-in, and it's. I don't know you, Blind Midget, but I hate you, and I hate everything that you stand for, and you're going down.
All right.
Nice. So fighting words there. So we got a little
calling him out pretty hard right off the bat. Kind of something Avila would do, like if he's gonna talk that he is the best player. I mean, he is right now developing the first Zerg mech playstyle. So I want to see something like that, especially with the AviloBot with Avilo's name in it. So
definitely seem to have the right mentality of an Avilo too, which is that if you play exactly the way that I want you to play, then I should win.
Yes, and usually you stay up till 3 a.m. for those kinds of games. So definitely the case. Yes. And to answer, I saw some discussion in the chat, and I think some of the designers of these bots are in there as well. I think these are primarily what are called scripted bots. So like a lot of their decision making and stuff is actually kind of pre-programmed into them. And then there's small elements of the machine learning or reinforcement learning stuff to it. And I've heard that that's quite hard. If anyone out there has seen, if you haven't seen any of the DeepMind stuff, definitely go check it out because it's neat to watch. But they're certainly having a hard time convincing, like getting a computer to just learn StarCraft without actually telling it anything is very difficult. So you have to give it these interim objectives. You can't just tell it win the game because it doesn't know what that means. So you have to give it all these like intermediate steps, and apparently things like just convincing it that mining minerals is good is very difficult. And it would just either not do that, or it wouldn't understand why it had to build anything. It would just place buildings in its own mineral line and block itself off and things like that. It would occasionally, if you taught it to explore the map, it would click somewhere on the mini map, then forget that its own base existed and never go back. So it's a big barrier over something like chess to do it. I think we have the interview with our next opponent, which is Micromachine queued up. So we'll kick into that now.
My bot primary strategy is to rush the opponent with Marines as soon as possible. My bot strength against AviloBot is probably a bug in his bot. It supposedly had difficulty to detect that a rush is coming. So I hope it will bug and not find out that my 4 barracks are going to make a rush. My bot has to watch for the defensive buildings that he might make. It will back if it find out that it will not be able to destroy the building and come back with a bigger. For Nike, I have to say, I'm sorry, man, if I use your bug to win, but it's like that. Good luck.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty
So
interesting interview right there too.
yeah, it seemed like I like this concept that since they knew each other as an opponent, they've designed them to counter each other. So
Yeah.
we've got the AviloBot playing similar Avilo style of mech, and this one obviously is Massa.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really weird fight. It seems like both of them are kind of just going in with a single game plan and seeing how that folds out. I think, and I'm sure like a lot of the programmers probably know the reaction and like the reactions that the opponent can make versus what you make is going to be a lot different, and there's going to be a lot more variables to do that instead of going to the games with like straight on one strat, see if it works, see if it doesn't work kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it lowers the number of variables that you're going to need too. If you know that you're going to do it all in every time, then obviously that's all you have to plan for, and you don't have to worry about.
It's going to be which all in is better.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the way to go. I mean, and again, that's a no regret type of thinking. If I've made a third base, I've already failed. So let's just not go there.
Hey, I'm sure he makes a third base. He just doesn't drone it up.
That is actually a very good point. That's the macro hatch just in the third base position. So it looks like we are ready to finally get into the first game of this StarCraft 2 AI tournament. Yep. We've got confirmation, ready to go. Let's jump into this. We are on Acid Plant. And loading that up now.
Yeah, Acid Plant, TBT. I know what I would do on this. I would definitely know what to do on this map, just because, you know, there is no cliffs to jump in with the Reapers. You pretty much have a natural protected. So I'm very interested in seeing how this game pans out.
Yeah, and the one that we expect to be a little more defensive up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Terran bot player. It is AviloBot. All right. No problem. And down here on the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have our blue Terran bot. It is Micromachine. And I'm not sure if you guys are seeing Micromachine, but either way, we can see a pretty normal opening by AviloBot here.
Yeah, and as you can see from Micromachine, he's kind of going for that gasless route. You know, Acid Plant, even though it kind of like develops into a shorter map with all the destructible debris, it's pretty long rush distance without destroying that debris. So we'll see if this rush is actually going to get planned to do any damage. Already, we can kind of see the weird depot. I guess you can call it almost an economic depot just because it doesn't go to the full wall off. This was really popular in like Wings of Liberty. Just, you know, every little mineral counts. So a lot of people wouldn't even wall off in most matchups. They would just get a really economical depot. But nowadays with the economy increase, it kind of like doesn't even make it that much more relevant. It's better just to wall off for like run buys and such. But already we see a pretty good surround using the
Does he know how to? I don't think he knows how to mineral walk out of there.
No, well, I mean, wasn't it that and I could be totally wrong. I was pretty sure that mineral walking wasn't really designed for multiplayer use when they made StarCraft. It was just by accident that it happened. Yeah. I think I read that on a Sons of StarCraft documentary.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that ended up being huge features in the game were purely accidental and bugs to begin with. Everything from Brood War, muta stacking and all that stuff, like using an Overlord and moving your egg, like everything like that is basically all weird. I kind of expected from the interview this to actually be a bunch of proxy barracks, but of course he's just doing them at home.
Yeah, I mean, he's not making an orbital. Micromachine is pretty much just massing up his army. I mean, he's 11 army supply over AviloBot. AviloBot does have a bunker, but we'll see if there's actually anything going into the bunker from the programming. But already you see move out, but the Reapers are going to catch it, but that wasn't beyond. Yeah, so we know for a fact that AviloBot is not beyond. This is actually, I think this might be in the programming because Avilo's pretty well known to always lose his first Reaper. Like, no matter what. He only uses it for initial scouting, and he never, like, tries to save it.
It's definitely, it's probably an homage to his namesake. That's got to be it. But, this bunker up on the high ground, it'll be interesting to see how he deals with it. Something that people are probably noticing already is that the movement of these things is really interesting. They're not clicking way ahead of where they want to go. They're clicking 10,000 times a centimeter in front of where they want to go.
So they're pretty much Korean bots at bronze level.
That's exactly
like the best way we can like defer to this. Now the attack is actually coming. It's a lot of Marines. 28 army supply, not all of it's here, but the bunker is up. Depots are raised. SCVs are going to get pulled. We'll see how much damage actually gets done. Helene is in the mix right here. Blue Micromachine is actually microing really well. He killed some of the workers, but is forced to back off. At this point, you definitely would want to expand and just contain the opponent, but he's ballsy. He's going to go in and he loses another Marine. So this is actually really good from the AviloBot. This is super turtley one base. This is pretty much how Avilo would deal with it. I mean, this is exactly how Avilo would play. So AviloBot is making probably Avilo really proud right now. And this rush is just shut down completely by one bunker. And it just goes to show that the army supply is not the only thing you should watch out for when you're looking at these games. It's also about defensive structures as well.
Yeah, especially for these bots too, just in the few games that I have seen, they're super indecisive around ramps as well. So bear in mind that he can't see above this, but also the way the bots work, they also can't really remember what's up there.
Mm-hmm.
So they know the buildings, obviously, but they forget what sort of army that they're seeing. If they can't see it, they don't know it's there.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I mean, losing the Banshee right away again. Once again,
just before
true to his name, AviloBot, being exactly like how Avilo would be. Okay, like this is perfect play-by-play. I would say right now that, AviloBot, that one bunker is good, but Micromachine can mass up a huge amount of Marines and DPS down. They were already killing SCVs when the SCVs were repairing the bunker, so maybe you can get enough Marines to actually do something. But as you can see at the army supply at the bottom of the screen, the AviloBot's catching up in army supply.
Yeah, and the other thing that continues to happen here, it would be great if he would mass it up, but he continues to go up the ramp, loses 3 Marines and comes back down. Then 2 Marines join, then he goes up the ramp. So it's, again, that indecisiveness of the bot nature. It won't commit to either an attack or commit to waiting.
So indecisive. Just doesn't really help anyone out. It's like a lingering relationship right now. And, Micromachine is so indecisive right here. Just, he does send a scouting Marine, and it looks like something's going wrong. Oh, it's the Banshee. The Banshee's actually getting quite a bit of kills, and it's just picking off all the remainder. And tech-wise, AviloBot's in a huge lead. Cloak is finished. I don't even think there's an orbital on the other side to get a scan going. And I think, AviloBot is going to clean this up pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this is pretty close to the end. He's realizing he has to retreat home. There's nothing that can stop the cloaking. There are only 13 SCVs left back at home, as we see a Banshee wandering back home.
Oh my gosh, AviloBot is pulling the boys. Now, this might be AviloBot, but this is a very rough tactic. To pull SCVs, to repair your mechanical units, to trade out. And, there's something that we have to discuss is that, these people know they'll be playing against other programs, not pro gamer, but programmer. But pretty much, they might think that a defensive posture in these games is, the best thing to do instead of an offensive posture.
That's a very good point, especially after seeing the behavior we just saw with the ramps, that just taking that fairly passive posture destroyed so much supply of units just from waiting there. And it's very hard to push it in because, they don't quite think strategically in terms of which things should I target down, what should I prioritize, when is it time to just go? And it doesn't quite make those decisions. So, I think the defensive play may be the thing to do.
Yeah, and Micromachine, I mean, he hasn't mined a single Vespian gas. This is pretty much like a GSL game with Maru in it, because he just 2-raxes every game. But obviously, this isn't GSL, and it's a TBT. Yeah. So it's I would definitely say AviloBot is definitely in the lead, getting the expansion. Look, 3 tanks out, there's no way you can break this with Unstunned Marines.
Yeah. Interesting deployment of the tanks. 1 siege by the base.
You got to protect your mineral line. He knows. AviloBot already knows. It's already self-learning. It's pretty much Skynet. It knows that it killed enough workers to where as long as he secures his own mineral lines, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. This army making a bit of a fuss at the bottom of the ramp. It does get pushed back. He's going to be able to continue to reinforce this for quite a while, but it seems very, very unlikely that he's going to get much done, although he may be able to pick off his tank.
Yeah, that's a good pick-off. And he might pick off some of the workers if he micros perfectly. Wow, this splitting, though, is pretty much Marine King Prime splitting right now. But, I mean, with the reinforcements and coming in, I mean, the third is already, or not the third, but the third base is taken by the second CC AviloBot. And, you know, that's already almost twice as much mining as Micromachine's going to ever have.
Yeah, very true, especially if Micromachine never really expands, and there's certainly no sign that he's attempting to do so yet. I mean, you can see his macros on point. He's almost permanently got, like, under 50 minerals.
Yeah.
Because he just makes another marine.
The bunker has just gotten so much value off of this, and honestly, like, you can definitely tell, you know, AviloBot put a lot of thought into the future steps of the game besides the 5-minute mark, which is, like, pretty much going to win him this game.
Yeah, the interesting thing will be to see as we go through the tournament if this sort of behavior does well against other bots with different styles. So it's obviously very effective against this, where you're getting tier 1 units with no upgrades just going towards the base.
Yeah, and this is one of the situations where I feel like even, I mean, that was 6 splitting right there. That is actually really cool. No scout and perfect counter, so blatant.
Nice.
I think this is actually not AviloBot, because I feel like AviloBot would have said something a little bit different. Like a bunch of question marks, or, you know, like GG or something like that. But yeah, as you can see from Micromachine, he's already pretty much mined out of the main base thanks to Legacy of the Void's new economic system. And, you know, really, you have to expand in Legacy of the Void. You can't just stay on one base anymore.
Yeah, very true. Even very early all-ins are still mostly based on a 2-base system.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, Micromachine did good. It was a good thought. I think on... I don't even want to say, like, other maps, but I feel like just against Terran, this doesn't work.
Now, this is a very interesting... I don't know what's happening here exactly, but obviously, AviloBot continues to try and send workers down to that other base, and Micromachine that's just stuck on the bottom of the ramp is picking things off on a 1-by-1 basis.
Yeah, the APM tab for Micromachine is insane. It's over 10,000. Vegeta would literally be jealous.
Literally.
He would be moist with jealousy right now.
99,000.
I mean, this is crazy. Like, if I could ever micro this much, or if anyone did, I'm pretty sure their fingers would catch on fire. Like, I'm not sure how many actions per minute you need to actually, like produce flames in between your fingers, but I feel like it would be around this number.
That definitely seems to be about right. He's got 99,000 APM, but a bunker requires none. And
this bunker is absolutely insane, though. This is like the best thing you can build, I feel like, in these games, is any kind of turtling aspect. It'll be interesting to see other races such as Zerg and ProBots, how they would use like shield batteries or spine crawlers. But coming from a race standpoint, what do you think is going to be what race did you think would be hardest to program?
I think that Zerg is.
Okay.
Partially, you've got to get it to creep spread. It's limited by that creep. It's much more based on what your tech path is going to be, which you have to plan ahead of time. Like, I don't know. It's much... I think that one, for some reason, would. Also, the way that the micro works, where you're looking for surrounds and you're looking for, like, baneling connections in a specific way, I think that might be the hard one.
Now, what do you think would be the easiest? Wink, wink, wink.
Even though you're probably looking for the answer, Protoss, I don't think it is. I actually think Terran is easiest.
Okay.
And the reason I think that is because of Marines. I think that they're the most intuitive thing to teach it to micro perfectly. So, and we're seeing a lot of that, like obviously not this part where it can't go up the ramp, but when it was at the bottom and it was splitting perfectly, like if you could easily teach something to do perfect stutter step in a perfect split. And that seems intuitive.
You know, that's funny because I think it's always been pretty vocal about Terran always being the best potential in a race. You know, like Ghosts, Ravens, Micro. Of course, a human being can't actually do this perfectly.
Do 99,000 APM.
You know, not even close. You know, StarCraft's all about a game of mistakes, and whoever makes the fewest usually wins these games. But it'd be interesting to see, and this is probably not within reach right now, but to see a game with all three races going at each other without making a single mistake and see how the game's actually played out. I mean, that perfect like game doesn't really exist. I can't even imagine how that would actually look like. Yeah. But like how it would look, and it'd probably be like Terran would be on top, just like perfect EMPs, perfect snipes, targeting, all that, you know, almost like gun level, I guess you could say. But I mean, it's pretty funny because Terran's always been voiced as the best race when it comes.
I think you're right. The highest skill cap, basically, because if you could imagine what would your ideal game be as every race, Protoss's ideal game would be, I want to force you to fight my army as one big group.
Yes, and the complexity of the army.
Yeah. And Zerg's would be, I want to split my army into 2 or 3 groups. Terran's ideal situation would be, I want my army split into about 13 different groups, 8 Marines and a medevac in 8 different places on the map, and then I want to control every Marine
perfectly.
separately. Yeah, and if you could do that, that would be better. Whereas if you control every Ling perfectly or every Zealot perfectly,
it doesn't matter. There's so much value a Ling can have against a Colossus or vice versa, like a Baneling against like, you know, a massive amount of Thors or whatnot.
Yeah. And like you said, once you throw in Ghosts and everything like that, then yeah, you're getting
Ghosts, Liberate, or it wouldn't even be Liberators. It'd be units that you can mechanically control perfectly. So I guess it'd be like Marine Marauder Ghost, I guess you could say, is the most potential to do the most amount of damage.
Right.
It wouldn't actually be mech units, because mech units have a siege time, so it'd be like split decision making.
It'd be things, each like medevac, basically it's whatever, 20 supply.
Micro each medevac, doing that drop, the tank micro that we always see, like, or in those micro like compilations on YouTube. I still watch a ton. Actually watched a bunch earlier today. But as we can see, Micromachine's fully mined out. So you know, after he loses all of these.
Something interesting that has slowly happened here, which doesn't really make sense, is that AviloBot is down to 9 workers. It's because he keeps sending them like down this ramp, and they have no like self-preservation in mind.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, as if you were a worker for Avilo, I don't think you would have much value. You know, like Avilo is pretty, like, he loses a lot of workers. I would say, if anything, it's his army that has the most value to it. Just because, you know, mech players, they care about their army, and, you know, some people use up too, so they just keep it all together. Exactly. But I mean, he's still muling. Like, the mules themselves will pay for the workers he's lost.
Yeah, he's still going to have the income. He's going to float his 3rd CC over to these Marines. But these 4 Marines are now the only thing left. So there's no more income for Micromachine. He's not floating a base over.
I'm really disappointed. I haven't seen a single Raven or... Yeah. You know, I think if Micromachine would have put in his programming to build 1 Marauder, I think Avilo would have already left this game.
Probably. Yeah, and I'm curious to see what the GG timing is. Obviously, any human in Micromachine's position would have left about 20 minutes ago. But in this case, I don't know what their kind of triggers are. Do they need to actually be attacked before?
You can't call out Micromachine. You said 20 minutes. We're 17 minutes in. You can't just say you're gonna.
I did it.
You know, you're gonna blow that guy's ego up. We'll say 12 minutes.
Yeah, 12
after
minutes.
The initial rush.
After the bunker fail. Yeah,
that was super shots fired right there. You were just going full ham on that. But yeah, I wonder, do these bots have a GG timing? Are we just going to literally see the most passive like our game possible?
I would, yeah. Part of me thinks that like it would have no reason to leave until it's attacked. It would think that it's fine. I'm sure it has like some metric.
Well, it's a AviloBot. It will never attack.
Well, yeah, I'm a little concerned. I'm half wondering, well, where did the Banshees go? Like,
I think they just, I don't know. They probably just left the game. I don't.
Because okay. Yeah, he didn't continue with that, but there was no detection or anything. So the Banshees could have just stayed in that base indefinitely, really. So at one point, they obviously decided to come home in order to do something. So
yeah, I mean, this is pretty sad. The Marines don't really know what they're doing. They're not healing or anything. They're just walking around. Pretty sad about it.
Just chilling. Yeah, no, nothing programmed in to float that base over. They're not even long distance mining, which that part's a little surprising. I would have thought they would at least figured that.
Yeah, I think Micromachine's plan was initially just attack and hope for the best kind of thing.
So I'm now told, we got the insider track information that apparently AviloBot only attacks when it has 100 supply. It will not attack before 100 supply.
I mean, that's kind of half true. I say Avilo only attacks when he has about 200 supply.
Mm-hmm. That's about accurate. That would take much longer. So hopefully it moves out. We're at 98 supply, I guess, right now. Before that had been suppressed because, of course, the 3-4 Marines at the bottom of the ramp kept just killing SCVs. Nice, 167 Marines.
You will never see that units lost tab in a pro game, ever. So this is like the first time you've ever seen this. Maybe if you're in Bronze League or something, you might have seen something like that. But yeah, first time seeing it here, folks.
So he's at 109 supply. I wonder if that actually means 100 army supply before it will attack.
No.
That might make some sense. That would take a little while longer.
That would be quite a while. But, let's hope he just makes a bunch of Hellions. If he was Zerg, if he played Zerg, he would just be maxed out already. He would have had, that much supply in roaches.
Definitely the case. It's kind of funny that most of his facilities have gone silent. Oh, there, he just starts to use the starport again. And we're going to get some Vikings out to, kill all the air units.
All the medevacs, the air units. Well, the Vikings do help out with if there was like a floating building situation. Mm-hmm. If you do, and maybe AviloBot's so superior, it's just it's figuring out that the buildings are already going to be lifted, so he's just trying to end the game quicker at that point.
That makes sense.
But being the macro player Avilo he's going up to 5 CCs when he's only on technically 3 bases. Now 1.5 potentially, but that is a very Avilo move to do, to make more command centers than you actually have bases.
Yeah, definitely a good tactic here.
And
of course,
blocked.
yeah, that seems to happen. That's something that I've seen in a couple of the AI games that we've looked at when we were doing an AI show, and I'm a little surprised that a bot will supply block itself. Like you think that would be an easy thing. Yeah, that would be an easy thing to tell it, but maybe it's not, or maybe it literally. That's possible. That's possible too. Yeah, we'll see how the rest of them handle it. It was not an issue at all with Micromachine.
Yeah, building 4 additional command centers.
Yeah.
This is actually, I want to say AviloBot did a good job this game.
Yeah.
Did really good job turtling. Making a bunker. Yeah. Only taking 1 base at a time, kind of thing. Very Avilo-esque type of gameplay. I think Micromachine going into this should have counted for, turtling and should have played greedy in a sense, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it begs the question of AviloBot has no idea that Micromachine hasn't expanded 5 times or anything.
Yeah, usually in a bio versus mech game, which I guess you could say Micromachine is a bio player, saying how it only made Marines. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You definitely want to have at least all your bases, at least up to 5 if your mech player is on potentially. Yeah, you have to have at least 1 base more than the mech player, just based on how slow mech is to develop as an army.
And I think we finally hit, so it must have been 100 army supply, as we are seeing the 108 supply army coming across the map.
Pretty much a victory push.
Yeah.
And I will be very surprised if Micromachine even kills one unit. But this is definitely not how... Actually, you know, when Avilo did play Bio, and I laughed so hard because I remember, like, TVZ games, he would just send, like, double medevac drops, put him on creep, and then put him on patrol, and all the units would be patrolling. And his theory is that it's already kind of splitting at that point,
right?
Except for the Zerg player would just literally just send only Lings and just kill all the units because they would get full wraparounds on him. But that's why he doesn't play Bio anymore. But the games that I did see reminded me of how this patrolling is. Pretty interesting patrolling. Here comes a fight, though. Huge fight. Big concave at the ramp with the 3 Marines, but gets quickly ripped over by the AviloBot. SCVs are pulled in last desperation. And maybe a friendly fire is going to kill Helene. Not even that.
Yeah, it definitely came close there, but not quite. And they do keep their distance from these remaining buildings. The tanks will siege. One of them will siege up on the ramp. Again, showing poor ramp mechanics. That seems to be endemic to all the bots, as they don't understand ramps. But
painful to watch. Hellions killing buildings takes forever. Okay,
they're not like fully committing though, just in case there's a huge army behind the building,
or like a mass amount of ravens or something like that. Like the patrol pre-splitting and everything like that.
Very cautious, as they will slowly burn it down. We now see Micromachine with 0 supply.
And AviloBot up to 2 or 199. Sorry, not 200, but almost there to 200. I actually don't think he will get up to 200 unless he makes an SCV.
So CC goods go down. No SCVs, no army, no money. Generally, this would be a good time to GG out, but there may just be no such thing.
Well, you can't count him out yet. Okay, he can float the building, never find it. Could be a draw.
Yeah.
It looks like though Avilo's going to go for the killing, or AviloBot's going to go for the killing blow right now. Just leapfrogging the tanks forward, just like a good player would do in a situation like this. And you know the Vikings are there just preventing liftoffs. It's a slow death. Avilo's probably talking to his chat right now. If this was Avilo, just talking about how he's so much better. He is better, as you can see, because he wins the game. AviloBot.
There we go. AviloBot 1-0. In this series. It occurs to me, of course, that there just is no GG timing, obviously. They just didn't bother to put that in. So we're probably going to see every building destroyed in every game.
If you put a GG timing, you already have sold the fact that you might potentially lose. Okay, none of these programmers program thinking that they're going to lose. Okay?
That's a good
There is no GG timing. I don't want to see a single GG timing just because it's going to identify to the programmers that are like, hey, I might lose this. I'm just going to put a GG timing. No, they're going to win. Tournament, seriousness, competitive, StarCraft.
Absolutely. I agree. I like the mentality. And when you think about it in that way, if you're a coder out there with limited time and resources, the last thing you're going to do is something that types out GG when you lose, because that just takes time that you could have spent on something else. So yeah, interesting result there. If AviloBot does kind of the same thing and Micromachine, again, also does kind of the same thing, then I would expect a similar result. We're going to be going on to Catalyst as a map. Can you think of anything that might be fundamentally different there that would make Micromachine work?
So Catalyst is a map that, has that exposed main jump-in point. It's a very good point for pretty much like, Reapers, but seeing how Micromachine actually went full Marines, I feel like, and we saw this before in the first game, as long as there's a turtling aspect, Marines kind of don't do well at all against that. So will be very, very interesting to see. I don't know do you know if these programmers switched it up based on maps, or?
I think there's minor variation to it, but I don't know if fundamental strategy is different. I think some of the things like, say, where to put that bunker, they may have that structured out, but I don't think it's like on this map, do the Marine build, on this map, switch to a totally different. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see if we get something else. I think we're ready to jump into the Catalyst game. And if we are, then down here on the bottom right-hand corner is our red player, who I think is still AviloBot. Although our colors are swapped on that. We'll know once they start. We'll know almost instantly from the APM. And I'm thinking that the higher, well, now they all went to 0, so I don't know. But we'll know once units come out, as Micromachine's APM was about 500 times the average AviloBot one. Maybe 50. I don't know. But I think down here on the bottom right is AviloBot.
Yeah, as we can already see, AviloBot's taking that gas. I'm already assuming that it is. And then on the top left position of Catalyst, it's going to be Micromachine. As we can see, Micromachine not opting for that gas. So I'm going to guess that the top left is Micromachine and the bottom right is AviloBot.
Yeah.
Already coming. Now, honestly, I would have said on this map, especially coming from a programmer, if I was a programmer and it was in this and facing AviloBot, I would actually proxy all the barracks, float them into AviloBot's main, and then make the Marines.
That would definitely be a strategy. I was surprised, like I said in the first game, that these were not proxied, since there's really no defensive effort here or anything like this, and there's definitely no transition out. So if this doesn't work,
it's scouting everything too.
Yeah. And I wonder from their point of view what information or what changes it makes from the scout. He's going to get stuck here again. No, he does get away.
Would that be the program? See, I think if it got stuck a second time, as you can see, Micromachine's actually going to kill that worker.
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of think Avila does this as well. You know, he does like just send the worker, and it usually just dies to some kind of like shenanigans, and then he's gonna lose the Reaper again to the Mass Marines. The main thing is if the bunker is gonna get built. If the bunker's not gonna get built, you actually just can't win versus four racks Marine. Surprising with 4 racks. I know he builds on. He goes up to 5 racks or something like that, and the bunker's already being built. Yeah. With this bunker being built, I'm pretty sure that, as we saw in the previous game, that AviloBot is just going to win a slow, turly,
painful death. Yeah. I wonder if the position makes any difference here. In the previous game, it was a little more out of the way, and this one's a little more central.
Yeah, with the full wall off. Well, in Acid Plant, it was actually in like the perfect position for Marines. Of course, it wouldn't be for anything else.
Yeah.
Like if you think about Reapers or even Marauders, like it would have been in a worse position just because it was far away, tucked into the top of the ramp. This where the bunker's at now, it could potentially get DPS down. So that might happen. I think the AviloBot has programming to actually pull SCVs, but as you saw from Micromachine in the first couple minutes of the Marine Rush, that it actually it was target firing the SCVs down. So there is a potential, window for Micromachine to actually win this game.
Yeah, definitely. And he is moving across now. He was delayed briefly as that Reaper did come in on that ledge, and he actually sent some things back to do that. But he is coming through now. The big question is, can it decisively go up the ramp? If this all walks up the ramp and targets it down, then he can destroy it.
Yeah, I think he can win then. SCVs aren't being pulled. I think he has to take damage. Oh, this full wall off is totally screwing up Micromachine's programming. I think by far this is like the best thing you can do as a Terran player. Here comes the wall off. It's going to DPS the bunker down. SCVs, only 3. One actually got hit.
He literally just stopped firing for a bit while standing still, which I didn't even know was possible.
Oh yeah, like I think it was just a million times pressing S and did not give any time for the Marines to shoot. And like every time the bunker's taking any damage, SCVs were being pulled at the exact same moment.
Yeah, so I think we've lost the window for Micromachine to win.
Maybe, we'll see. But like I think the programming for AviloBot is just too superior right now. Like this is like those battle bots where you see like I'm not super old, but I'm old enough to actually watch that show back then. And there's always like that one bot that literally had a really dumb concept. Like this bot has like a frying pan that would hit its robot because someone thought it was really cool to do, and the other one has like a bazooka or like a saw. AviloBot's the one with the saw, and Micromachine has not even a frying pan anymore. I would say like a butter knife or a spoon or something like that. And you can't just, obviously one had more thought than the other.
Yeah, definitely the case. And because of the layout of the map here, in the last game, we saw the first Banshee go out and actually run over the Marines.
It's going to get intercepted, actually, midway. It's going to actually, I mean, Banshee's 2-shot Marines with no combat shields, so obviously it's going to take off, but it's going to kill a lot of workers.
Yeah, it will get by those reinforcing
this
Marines.
Banshee micro, though, not taking a single hit. These Marines pushing out, not hitting. Oh, cloak at the perfect second. No scans because there's no orbital command coming from Micromachine. So Micromachine's between a rock and a hard place, and Micromachine's just gonna lose all these units. Oh, here comes reinforcements. So cloak is gonna run out, but how many kills will it pick up? I'm guessing at least double.
Yeah, second one comes in reinforcing this.
Oh my goodness, this micro though.
Killing everything.
Microing the defensive Banshees, microing the offensive Banshee at the same time. Not even Innovation could do this. It is literally impossible. Just think when Skynet takes over StarCraft, how good. Like we would have to hire Diva to beat all these robots, pretty much.
If only that was still canon.
If only it was still canon. Hey, it's still canon in my heart. Okay? Don't take that away.
I'll never let it go. But again, here so 2 more Banshees come across. This one does have a fair bit of energy.
Oh, it's
spotted by the Marines. Will cloak and ignore them.
They only took like 2 shots of the full group of Marines. I think it's in the programming because right away after it takes 1 shot, it's gonna cloak, so the next shot actually doesn't take full damage from it. That's FYI. So if you guys are ever a Terran player and you see a Widow Mine, cloak your Banshee, and then it won't take the full amount of damage for it.
Ooh. Interesting. The bot's gonna pick up on that. We've got a semi-large attack coming at Avilo's front base, but I assume it will just do the same thing again. And these Banshees focusing, actually prioritizing the workers.
Oh my gosh, when it's low and it runs out of energy, it actually moved commands home. That's pretty hilarious. I think it's when it's in red. Actually, that 1 Banshee is leading, you know, and coming from this point of view, like, if this was like Wings of Liberty, it would be okay for the first couple of seconds to start on like 5 to 6 supply. But yeah, Micromachines, it's 57 supply to 5, and you know, Avilo's staying true to his name, not gonna AviloBot, I'm sorry, is actually not going to happen. Now, funny thing, the Banshee is actually not targeting anything but the command center. It actually went over the barracks, didn't shoot at all.
Yeah, it must have like a target priority because even when it saw Marines and SCVs, it went after the SCVs. So it's got to have something. Oh, this tank is gonna, almost take everything out. I like that it's continuing to stutter step around. It's orbiting the command center.
You know what?
Now that's an orbital command.
The game doesn't mean you won the game, okay? You always play through no matter what. You micro that 1 Banshee, that 1 unit that could potentially win you the game. Like, Banshee could, like, it could kill, because we know from the programming, it could actually kill all the buildings before Avilo reaches 100 army supply like the first game. That would be amazing. That could be the one stipulation.
That's kind of what I'm hoping.
I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the CC will now eventually burn down.
I wonder if it's going to shoot
the Banshee
it, though,
doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's like, I have no purpose in life. And it's just like, this is like berating around. This is pretty much what like Avilo would do in this game, or AviloBot would do in this game. Like, just not even like say anything, just keep moving it around, you know, just like dancing it, slow death.
It is resuming. It is now orbiting in a counterclockwise fashion. Big difference.
I think it was always counterclockwise.
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to check the replay.
My Terran mind is saying that you always go counterclockwise and not clockwise. Because you go behind the mineral line. So it's whatever direction, you always go behind it. Oh, now it's focusing depot.
Yeah. And it is. Instead of orbiting, it's like dodging and coming back in.
It's you know, you always practice your
Yeah,
you know,
just in case.
That's what good Terran players do. It does not matter. You always micro. If you're like 200 army supply with like STEM Marines versus like 20 Zerg supply, and there's only one Baneling, you still split because it's cool. It looks cool.
Now the real question is, will he hit 100 supply before this kills everything? Since I now think it's on the path to do that.
I think with the pathing from earlier, an acid plant, AviloBot lost a lot of workers.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it will actually reach 100 army supply before that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. So now it's saying GG, but this is an offensive GG. And the Banshee.
Is it though? Is it like it's already the game's already kind of done?
It is definitely. It is, but it is still an offensive GG in some sense.
I mean, the whole GG thing has kind of gotten to me. It means good game, you know? Yeah. Was this a good game, though? I mean, was it?
Well, that is true. Yeah, was it a good game? No, probably not. I'm not sure about this part where the Banshee is now paralyzed.
It has no purpose. It's literally just going to self-destruct like it did in the last game.
Yeah. I think it's now fulfilled its mission and now thinks it's just part of this normal army. And it won't move until...
You know, it's building up energy. It could still gain value. You know, like any energy units, and we learned this from watching WCS, energy units have more cost efficiency than non-energy units.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. I like the positioning of the rally point.
Well, you know, AviloBot knows that the only way ever to lose this game right now is to Doom drop.
Right.
I've actually seen Avilo put a PF in a base, in the main base or natural base to prevent such things.
Makes perfect logical sense.
It kind of does and it kind of doesn't, but you know, it's in a StarCraft. You know, you gotta love it and hate it for what it is. Now, I think he's walling himself in. Okay, maybe not. This might get awkward. This might become a point where he's going to wall himself in and won't actually be able to lift the buildings up to actually let the army go.
I think the turrets here are going to be key.
I think the Marines will get through.
Against the nothing that his opponent has. So now I wonder here, like, so obviously the bots don't scout a lot or really know what's going on, or most of them don't anyway. But in this case, his opponent is revealed. And so he can see that he doesn't have anything except the barracks. But he's still building as if it is possible that there's something else out there. Which is just a good cautionary tale.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. One key note is that AviloBot did not make any armories. This is not, like, I gotta give the programmer, you know, some flack here, you know, like, there's no armories, there's no PF in the main. Not trying to go to a mass Raven count or anything like that. We didn't see any like super Avilo styles. It's pretty standard Avilo, you know. Like, I think that's what the programmer wanted with standard Avilo. But you know, Avilo can make some weird strategies happen.
Turns out to be the dominant style.
These rally points though are next level. You know, is that his next level? Is innovation rallying to a depot? I think he's the first one that started that. But it's pretty next level in case of a base trade.
Definitely true. Someone asking in chat, you know, does this result in a draw if he doesn't do anything? The mining resets the draw clock, so no, it would not, even if he doesn't kill anything. Also, any production of a unit also resets the draw.
87. Everyone's just like in chat, it's just counting 89, 90, so on and so forth.
Yeah, we're getting, he's not, like, despite the 5 factories that were just added on at one time, we're not getting like fully maxed out supply.
You actually cannot produce off 5 additional factories with 37 workers. It's just
I would imagine not.
Literally impossible.
But what about all the orbitals? Maybe.
But you need the gas. Maybe if the mules had the mining gas to build.
He's got some gas. Okay, now we're at the 103.
Okay, where's the F2A move? F2A move. F2A move. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Times.
Oh my gosh.
It's the F2 patrol is what we're getting.
Fail fish. This is such a fail fish. The Marines and Hellions are going to kill the barracks. It's going to take forever.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now we'll get into this maze you were discussing. Can this army leave the base?
I mean, this would be even hard for the original Avilo to do.
Yeah. This is tough. I do not think the tanks can leave the base. And will the rest of the army
maybe
go?
Maybe you can stack them. Maybe if you like stack siege it, I know there's a Wings of Liberty bug like that. Maybe they can work it.
The Hellions are free. The Hellions are free. Some of them went back. They're not going to abandon the tanks. Okay. We've got some of the army.
This is well, you know, you might see this on his stream.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see this, you know.
Yeah. This it's pretty standard.
Yeah, and he's laughing at himself. He knows. He's like, "Lol, I walled myself in." So what we need now from the balance team is missile turrets can go down like supply depots. That's what we need. So Blizzard balance team needs to get on it.
This Banshee could have ended the game a while ago, but it did not, because it's a jerk. We've got a CC floating over halfway on the map. I would love to see that land and become a planetary.
Are they gonna? Oh my gosh, the Hellions are attacking. This is like the most suspenseful game.
I think it's not going to do it.
I think it's move commanding because of the tank. Oh
yeah,
no, tank.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, that would have been bad. It's like he's waiting for the tank
to catch up. I wonder if they see stuff back there.
So
okay,
now, theoretically, if they kept move commanding, the game would have been a draw, right? Because the whole map would have been mined out. Eventually,
yeah. So someone did hypothesize if the whole map got mined out and they spent all their money, then yes, it would eventually draw if you didn't do something.
Which, you know, against like players like Avilo, sometimes you can only get a draw.
Yeah. Now, if that happens, we will probably turn it to 8 times speed.
You couldn't even get to turn to like 100 times.
100, yeah. It's as an interesting side note, when these bots play each other, they actually play at 8 or 16 times speed or something like that. So,
do they really?
They don't play at the normal human speed.
That would be very interesting to watch, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. But we obviously, when we get the replay from it, so you can't really even watch them play live. They do it on their own.
It's a simulation within itself. Okay.
So we get the replays and we can watch that. Although part of our setup here is that our producer is controlling the games and we don't even have them because it's hard and it has to be run a certain way.
Coming from like into this, I actually didn't think I was going to be that intrigued. I'm really intrigued now to see like the top level of programming, how like the simulation replay would actually pan out. Right.
Yeah, it is kind of neat to see. Like you get behaviors you don't expect, and they're completely non-human behaviors. Like to try and even compare it to like a gold leaguer or a bronze leaguer or something is almost not. They're just not human.
Yeah,
it would be like they're not. It's not that they're a good chess player or a bad chess player. They're moving the knight in a way that it's not allowed to move. They're just throwing pieces around.
Yeah, they're just throwing it around.
Yeah, so they're not behaving in a weird way, in a normal way. The ones that we've got coming up